And Amy mentioned this piece in National Review by our friend Victor Davis Hanson earlier in the week, making the case for Trump, why conservatives should vote for Trump, even though many of his colleagues at National Review are never Trumpers and have stayed steadfast throughout. And for more on this argument that he lays out, as well as a little bit of review of last night's performance, we're pleased to be joined by the aforesaid Victor Davis Hanson. Victor, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So let's go to your piece first. One of the things that you suggest, not just that kind of Trump is less worse than the alternative, which is a posture that a lot of Trump supporters are taking in terms of voting for him, but also a little bit more upside than maybe some believe is present with the prospect of conservative appointments to the high court, to the subordinate courts, and kind of an advance of the flag of conservatism, the prospect of being real with a Trump presidency. You want to explain that?
Yes. I think if Trump were to be elected, you'd probably have a Supreme Court that was conservative and would stay that way. You probably would have a Senate and House that were conservative. You'd have the presidency, and by that I mean the Attorney General, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Education, that would be conservative. And then you would have a new climate where people who were conservative would have confidence. They would come back out of the woodwork. Some of them are silenced now. So there would be a change in the culture. Both candidates, 68 and 70, so you want to look at the vice president. You'd have a conservative vice president in a way you wouldn't have with Hillary. So then the only question is there anything in Trump's character that makes him unfit in a way that's not true of Hillary Clinton? I haven't bought that argument that he is so bad that you have to shed your conservative credentials and vote for Hillary Clinton, or vote de facto by not voting at all for her, because I think that she's probably one of the most corrupt politicians we've seen in the last 50 years.
Well, what about, there's one aspect of Trump's campaign. He seems to be pro same-sex marriage, and that's not too conservative, is it?
Well, I didn't say that he was conservative. I mean more conservative. So he's going to be more conservative than the alternative. I don't like some of his positions, and I'm skeptical that in his past he's gone back and forth. But all I did was sort of wash my brain of everything and look at his position as it appears on his website, and then collate it with Hillary Clinton's. And I went down on about 10 topics: immigration, taxes, regulation, Obamacare, defense spending, and things like the wall. That's all I did. And if anybody does that, I think empirically they'll come to the same conclusion, whatever their politics are. If I was a liberal right now and I was worried about Hillary Clinton, I would probably say, you know what, I'm going to vote for her because her character is or is not as bad as Trump, but her position is far more liberal. If you were a liberal, I think you should do that, if that's what you believe. But for all the personalities, the election is that one agenda is much more conservative than the other agenda, or one is more liberal than the other agenda.
Now, you've had one of my favorite kind of one-sentence explanations of the Trump phenomena this cycle that I've seen, which is, and I'm paraphrasing you from memory, but the idea of Trump's candidacy is all those elites in media and academia and big corporate America and Hollywood. I know them all, and they're even worse than you think. And that's kind of been a rallying cry for the revolt. And you kind of picked up on that a little bit when in this additional piece that you've written, our neutron bomb election.
Let me say, if you asked me a question, say 6 months ago, and you said, Victor Hanson, do you think that reporters send their articles to the Clinton campaign to have them proofread or checked? Or do you believe that journalists leak questions to the Clinton campaign in advance that will appear in a debate? Or do you think that the Clinton campaign, Clinton, I should say, as Secretary of State, adjudicates who gets a contract in Haiti based on how much money they've given to the foundation or speaking engagements? Or would you think, do you think that Hillary Clinton has argued for open borders among Wall Street grandees and foreign governments? If I had confirmed all that, you'd think I was crazy and you wouldn't have me on my show anymore. So that's pretty much where we are. That if you read the trove of emails or WikiLeaks or whatever, even Colin Powell's email complaining that Hillary took too much money and speaking, and there's not enough crumbs left for him. So it's sort of an incestuous world. When Ben Rhodes, the advisor to Barack Obama's brother, is the head of CBS News, and Jay Carney goes to work for Amazon, and his wife is vice president of CNN. I could go on. I detailed it in the piece, but you get the impression that these are people who live in a coastal cocoon whose value system is at odds with most of America.
But now, the neutron bomb election, you essentially suggest that these institutions that form the foundation of our civic society are being emptied. And so what is the outcome for those institutions and the future for America, regardless of the outcome on November 8th?
I just don't think that, I'll just name 3 or 4 very quickly. Fact-checking, I don't think anybody believes it exists anymore. When Hillary Clinton says, go to my website and fact-check what I said, or when you read how the fact-checkers got things wrong, it's an ideological process now that masquerades under disinterested commentary. I don't think the debate moderator, Chris Wallace, I think did a very good job and helped to restore the reputation of the moderator. It was only because he was from a different tradition, but most of the moderators are there to grill the conservative candidate and to try to remind people not to be duped by right-wing rhetoric, and that's not the role. I don't think that we respect debate moderator. I don't think the foundation, i.e. the presidential foundation, really exists anymore as a disinterested charitable organization. And that's sad because some of them probably are, but after what we've learned about the Clinton Foundation, any president who goes into private life and sets up a foundation is going to be suspect. And finally, I know that the word Republican Party will still exist and there'll be a name, but they had a wonderful opportunity because the Democratic Party has appealed to the very wealthy who are immune from the consequences of their own ideology and the very poor, the dependent class. And then in between, the Republicans were picking up support from blue-collar workers, small business people. But after this election, I think nobody knows what the Republican Party is. Is it for open borders? Is it for tough immigration enforcement? Is it for barring people in Washington from being lobbyists after they leave office? Is it balanced budget? Is it deficit spending? Is it tweaking Obamacare? I don't know what it is for. I think most people are confused about it. So, sort of again, it's an elite versus the mass, and I think it's going to have a lot of problems in the next couple of years.
All right, he is Victor Davis Hanson, columnist for National Review, as well as a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. Victor Davis Hanson, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made this